You know, folks, there are moments in life when the people you love most show you exactly how little they value you. I'm about to tell you a story that'll make you question everything you think you know about family loyalty. And trust me, what happened next will leave you absolutely speechless. Madison Parker had always been the dependable sister. At 34, she'd built a successful career as a manager at Morrison & Partners, one of Denver's most prestigious consulting firms. While her younger sisters, Jessica, 28, and Olivia, 24, had gotten married and started families, Madison had focused on climbing the corporate ladder, living alone in her downtown apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Madison had created a life she was proud of. Sure, she was single and child-free, but she'd never felt like she was missing out. She had her career, her independence, and a family she thought loved and respected her. For years, Madison had been the go-to person for family emergencies. When Jessica needed help with a down payment on her house, Madison wrote the check. When Olivia's husband lost his job, Madison covered their car payments for 3 months. When their parents needed a new roof, guess who quietly handled the contractor payments? Madison never asked for recognition or payback. She just did what she thought family was supposed to do: support each other unconditionally. But she was about to learn that unconditional support doesn't always flow both ways. It started with a phone call on a Tuesday evening in March. Madison was reviewing quarterly reports when her phone buzzed with Olivia's name. "Madison, I'm so glad I caught you. I have the most amazing news. What's up, Liv? We're planning something incredible for Mom's 62nd birthday next month. The whole family's going to be involved, and we need you to contribute about $2,500 for your share." Madison didn't even hesitate. Their mother, Patricia, had always been supportive of Madison's career choices, even when other family members questioned why she wasn't married with kids yet. "Of course, I'll transfer it tomorrow. What are we planning? It's going to be a surprise. Just make sure you take the week of April 15th off work. You're going to want to be available for the whole celebration." A whole week. Wow, this must be something special. "It really is. Mom deserves it. After everything she's done for us. I'll send you the details soon." Madison hung up, feeling excited. A week-long family celebration sounded wonderful, and she was happy to contribute. She immediately put in for vacation time and started imagining what kind of elaborate surprise they were planning. The money was transferred the next day, no questions asked. That was Madison's way. When family needed something, she provided it. 2 weeks later, Madison arrived at her parents' house for their monthly family dinner. The whole clan was there: her parents, Patricia and Robert, Jessica, with her husband Mike, and their 8-year-old son Tyler, Olivia, with her husband David, and their 6-year-old daughter Sophie, plus their cousins' kids, who were visiting 10-year-old twins, Max and Lily, and 7-year-old Ethan. The house was buzzing with excitement, and Madison could feel the anticipation in the air. Finally, she was going to learn about this mysterious birthday celebration. After dinner, as they were clearing the dishes, Jessica pulled out her phone with a huge grin. "Okay, everyone gather around. I want to show you the resort we booked for Mom's birthday week." Madison's heart swelled as Jessica pulled up photos of the Rocky Mountain Resort, a stunning luxury destination with spa services, hiking trails, gourmet restaurants, and breathtaking mountain views. "This looks incredible," Madison exclaimed. "Mom's going to love it. When do we leave?" That's when the room went quiet. Jessica and Olivia exchanged a look that Madison couldn't quite read. "Well," Jessica said slowly, "that's the thing. We've been thinking about the logistics, and we realized that someone needs to stay back and watch the kids." Madison looked around the room, confused. "What do you mean? Can't we bring the kids? It looks like a family-friendly resort." "Oh, it is," Olivia chimed in. "But you know how chaotic it gets when all the kids are together. And the resort has all these activities and excursions that would be really difficult with 5 children, ranging from 6 to 10 years old." "So what's the plan?" Madison asked, though she was starting to get a sinking feeling in her stomach. "Well," Jessica continued, avoiding eye contact, We were hoping you could watch Tyler, Sophie, Max, Lily, and Ethan while the rest of us go to the resort. You're so good with kids, and they absolutely adore you." Madison felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. "Wait, let me get this straight. I contributed $2,500 to a family celebration that I'm not invited to." "It's not that you're not invited," Olivia said quickly. "It's just that someone needs to stay with the kids, and you're the obvious choice." "The obvious choice? Why am I the obvious choice?" Patricia, Madison's mother, finally spoke up. "Honey, you know how much the children love spending time with you. And honestly, you'd probably find the resort a bit overwhelming. It's going to be very busy and social, lots of families with young children running around. You've always preferred quieter environments." Madison stared at her mother in disbelief. "Mom, I love spending time with the kids, but this is supposed to be a family celebration. I took a week off work. I contributed money. I was looking forward to celebrating with everyone." "But Madison," Jessica said, her voice taking on that patronizing tone that Madison had heard too many times before. "You don't really need a vacation from family life, do you? I mean, you don't have kids to get a break from. You don't have a husband to reconnect with. Your life is already pretty relaxed." The words hit Madison like a physical blow. She looked around the room at these people she'd been supporting, financially and emotionally, for years, and suddenly saw them clearly for the first time. "So let me understand this," Madison said, her voice deadly calm. "You want me to pay for a family vacation that I'm excluded from, take time off work to provide free childcare, and be grateful for the opportunity?" "Madison, don't be dramatic," Olivia said. "We're not excluding you. We're asking you to help make this celebration possible. Without someone to watch the kids, none of us can go. Then hire a babysitter. A babysitter for 5 kids for a week. Do you know how expensive that would be?" Jessica laughed. "Besides, we trust you with them. They're family." Madison stood up slowly, her mind racing. "I need to think about this." "What's to think about?" Robert, her father, spoke for the first time. "Your sisters are asking for your help with something important. Family helps family." Madison looked at him, remembering all the times she'd helped this family, all the checks she'd written, all the emergencies she'd handled. "You're right, Dad. Family should help family, all of family." She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. "Madison, where are you going?" Patricia called after her. "Home. I'll let you know my decision tomorrow." Madison drove home in a daze, her mind reeling from what had just happened. She sat in her apartment, looking out at the city lights, trying to process the conversation. For the first time, she saw her family relationships clearly. She wasn't a beloved sister and daughter. She was a resource, a bank account with legs, a convenient solution to their problems. When had it started? When had she become the person they turned to for money but excluded from celebrations? When had her value to them become purely transactional? She thought about all the times she'd been asked to babysit at the last minute because you don't have plans anyway. All the times her contributions to family events had been taken for granted. All the times her opinions had been dismissed because you don't have kids, so you wouldn't understand. Madison had always told herself that her family's comments were just thoughtless, not malicious. But tonight she realized there was a pattern. They saw her life as less valuable, less busy, less important, because she didn't have a husband and children. She stayed up all night, and by morning, she'd made her decision. The next morning, Madison called her mother. "Mom, I've been thinking about the birthday celebration, and I have a proposal." "Oh, good, honey. I was hoping you'd come around." "What if we hire a professional babysitting service to watch the kids during the day, and then we all take turns in the evenings? That way, everyone gets to participate in the celebration, and the kids are properly supervised." There was a long pause. "Madison, that's unnecessarily complicated and expensive." "Mom, I already contributed $2,500. I think the family can afford to hire proper childcare so that everyone can enjoy the celebration." "Honey, you're being unreasonable. The kids want to stay with you specifically. They'd be upset with strangers. Then bring them to the resort. I'm sure they have childcare services." Madison, we've already made the arrangements. The resort booking is for adults only. We specifically chose this place because it would be a peaceful, relaxing environment for the adults. Madison felt her temper rising. So you deliberately chose a place that excluded the children, knowing that someone would have to stay behind with them, and you just assumed that someone would be me. Well, yes, because you're the logical choice. I'm the logical choice, because I don't matter as much as everyone else. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said, Mom. You said my life is less important, less valuable, less deserving of celebration than everyone else's. Madison, you're twisting my words. We just thought. You thought I'd be grateful to be used. Again. Madison hung up. 10 minutes later, Olivia called. Madison, Mom told me about your conversation. You're being really selfish right now. Selfish? How am I being selfish? You're putting your wants above what's best for the family. This celebration is about Mom, not about you. If it's about Mom, then why isn't her daughter invited? You are invited to babysit. That's not the same thing, Olivia, and you know it. Madison, I'm going to be really honest with you right now. If you ruin this celebration for Mom because you're having some kind of midlife crisis, I will never forgive you. None of us will. Midlife crisis. I'm 34, Olivia, and wanting to be treated with basic respect isn't a crisis. It's called having self-worth. Whatever. Just think about what's really important here. Think about family. Olivia hung up. Madison stared at her phone, realizing that her family had made their position crystal clear. She was expected to sacrifice her time, her money, and her dignity for their convenience. And if she refused, she was selfish and ungrateful. Well, if that's how they wanted to play it, Madison was ready to show them what selfish really looked like. That afternoon, Madison did something she'd never done before. She booked a vacation for herself. Not just any vacation, but a first-class flight to Miami and a week at the Fontainebleau, one of the most luxurious beachfront hotels in South Beach. She'd always wanted to visit Miami, but had never taken the time. Well, now she had a week off work and no family obligations. Time to treat herself the way her family never had. She didn't tell anyone about her plans. She simply packed her bags, arranged for her neighbor to water her plants, and prepared for the most relaxing week of her life. The night before her flight, she sent a group text to her family. I've decided not to babysit during Mom's birthday celebration. I hope you all have a wonderful time at the resort. I'll be taking my own vacation that week. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you all. Then she turned off her phone. Miami was everything Madison had dreamed it would be. The Fontainebleau was stunning. A massive resort with multiple pools, world-class restaurants, and a spa that felt like heaven on earth. For the first time in years, Madison's days were her own. She slept until 10 a.m., had room service breakfast on her balcony overlooking the ocean, spent hours by the pool, reading novels she'd been meaning to get to for months. She got a massage, took a private yoga class on the beach, went shopping in the Art Deco district, and ate at restaurants she'd only read about in magazines. She struck up conversations with other travelers, went salsa dancing, and even took a sunset cruise. Every day she felt a little more like herself. Not Madison, the reliable sister, not Madison, the family ATM, not Madison, the convenient babysitter, just Madison. A successful, independent woman who deserved to be treated with respect and consideration. She kept her phone off the entire week, ignoring the growing number of notifications. Whatever drama was happening back home could wait. For once in her life, Madison was putting herself first. When Madison's flight landed in Denver the following Sunday evening, she finally turned her phone back on. The screen immediately lit up with notifications. 47 missed calls, 128 text messages, and 23 voicemails. She scrolled through them as she waited for her Uber, and the story became clear. Her family had shown up at her apartment on Monday morning, with all 5 kids expecting to drop them off before heading to the airport. When Madison didn't answer the door, they used the spare key her mother had for emergencies and discovered she wasn't there. Panic had set in. They'd called her work, her friends even considered filing a missing person report. When they realized she'd deliberately left town, the panic turned to rage. Jessica had been forced to stay behind with all 5 children, while the rest of the family went to the resort. But the celebration was ruined. Everyone was worried about the kids, angry at Madison, and unable to enjoy themselves. They'd cut the trip short by 2 days and returned home furious. The voicemails were a progression of emotions: confusion, worry, anger, and finally pure rage. Madison, where the hell are you? We're standing outside your apartment with 5 kids in suitcases. Call me back immediately. Jessica. Monday, 8 a.m. Madison. This isn't funny anymore. Mom is crying. The kids are asking where Aunt Madison is. You need to call us right now. Olivia. Monday, 2nd p.m. Madison. I don't know what kind of game you think you're playing, but you've ruined everything. Mom's birthday is destroyed. Jessica had to miss the trip, and the kids are devastated. I hope you're happy. Patricia. Tuesday evening. You selfish, ungrateful bitch. After everything this family has done for you, this is how you repay us. Don't bother coming to any more family events. You're dead to us. Robert. Wednesday night. Madison listened to each message with growing amazement. Even now, even after everything, they couldn't see what they'd done wrong. In their minds, she was the villain for refusing to be used. Madison had barely gotten home and unpacked when her doorbell rang. She looked through the peephole to see her entire family standing in the hallway. Parents, sisters, brothers-in-law, and all 5 kids. She opened the door and was immediately hit with a wall of angry voices. How could you do this to us? You ruined Mom's birthday. The kids were asking for you all week. We trusted you. Madison held up her hand for silence. Would you like to come in and discuss this like adults? Or would you prefer to continue yelling in the hallway, where all my neighbors can hear? They filed into her apartment, the adults seething, the kids confused and subdued. Patricia spoke first, her voice shaking with emotion. Madison, I have never been so disappointed in you. How could you abandon your family like this? I didn't abandon anyone, Mom. I declined to provide free babysitting for a vacation I wasn't invited to. You were invited, Jessica exploded. We asked you to be part of the celebration. You asked me to be the hired help. There's a difference. Oh, please, Olivia rolled her eyes. You're being so dramatic. We asked you to watch the kids because you're good at it and because you don't have other obligations. I don't have other obligations. I have a career, Mom. I have a life. I have interests and desires and dreams that don't revolve around being your family's unpaid childcare service. But the kids love you, Mike, Jessica's husband, said quietly. They were really looking forward to spending the week with you. Madison looked at Tyler, Sophie, Max, Lily, and Ethan, 5 beautiful children who she did genuinely love. But she also knew that using her love for them to manipulate her was exactly the problem. I love these kids too, she said, but loving them doesn't mean I have to sacrifice my own life and happiness to be their babysitter whenever it's convenient for you. So where were you? David, Olivia's husband, asked. We were worried sick. Madison smiled for the first time since they'd arrived. I was in Miami, having the most wonderful vacation of my life. The room erupted again. Miami. You went on vacation while we were dealing with this mess. How could you be so selfish? Madison laughed, a sound that surprised everyone, including herself. Selfish. Let me tell you what selfish looks like. Selfish is asking someone to contribute $500 to a celebration they're not invited to. Selfish is expecting free childcare from someone whose time and energy you don't value. Selfish is planning a family vacation and deliberately excluding one family member because you think her life is less important than everyone else's. That's not what we did, Patricia protested. That's exactly what you did, Mom. You told me my life was already pretty relaxed because I don't have kids. You said I wouldn't enjoy the resort because it would be too overwhelming for me. You made it clear that my role in this family is to provide money and services, not to be celebrated or included. Madison, you're twisting everything. Am I? Tell me, when was the last time any of you asked about my life, my job, my interests, my dreams? When was the last time you invited me to something without needing me to bring my checkbook or my babysitting services? The room went quiet. That's what I thought. You know what I realized this week? I realized that I've been so busy trying to be the perfect sister and daughter that I forgot to be a person. I forgot that I deserve to be treated with respect and consideration. We do respect you, Olivia said weakly. No, you don't. You use me. There's a difference, and I'm done being used. Robert, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. So that's it. You're just going to abandon your family because we asked you for one favor. One favor, Dad. I've been doing favors for this family for years. I've paid for Jessica's house repairs, Olivia's car payments, your roof replacement, Mom's medical bills. I've babysat countless times at the last minute. I've rearranged my schedule, my life, my priorities to accommodate everyone else's needs. And not once have any of you said thank you or offered to do something for me in return. We're family, Jessica said. Family helps each other. You're right. Family does help each other, but help goes both ways. When was the last time any of you helped me with anything? Another silence. I thought so. Well, I've learned something important this week. I've learned that I don't need people in my life who only value me for what I can do for them. I've learned that I deserve better than being treated like a convenient resource. So what are you saying? Patricia asked, tears in her eyes. I'm saying that things are going to be different from now on. I'm not your emergency babysitter anymore. I'm not your family bank anymore. I'm not your go-to person for every problem and crisis. I'm your daughter and sister, and if you want me in your life, you need to treat me like one. And if we don't, Robert challenged. Madison looked at him steadily. Then I guess you'll find out what it's really like to not have me around. The family left that night in a storm of angry words and slammed doors. The kids were crying, confused by the adult drama swirling around them. Madison felt terrible for them, but she knew that giving in now would only perpetuate the cycle. Over the next few weeks, the silent treatment began. No calls, no texts, no invitations to family events. Madison's social media feeds were filled with passive-aggressive posts about ungrateful family members and people who abandon those who love them. But something interesting happened during those weeks of silence. Madison didn't feel sad or lonely. She felt free. She joined a book club at the local library and made friends with people who shared her love of literature. She signed up for a cooking class and discovered she had a talent for French cuisine. She started planning a trip to Europe, something she'd always wanted to do but never had the time or money for because she was always helping her family. For the first time in years, Madison's paycheck was her own. Her time was her own. Her energy was her own. She realized that she'd been so busy being indispensable to her family that she'd forgotten to build a life for herself. Now at 34, she was finally discovering who she was when she wasn't defined by her usefulness to others. 6 weeks after the confrontation, Madison received an unexpected text from Tyler, Jessica's 8-year-old son. Aunt Madison, I miss you. Mom says you don't want to see us anymore, but I don't believe her. Can I call you? Madison's heart broke. She called Jessica immediately. Jessica, Tyler texted me. What exactly have you been telling the kids about why I haven't been around? I told them the truth, that you chose yourself over family. That's not the truth, and you know it. I chose to be treated with respect. There's a difference. Whatever, Madison. The kids ask about you constantly, but I'm not going to let them be hurt by someone who clearly doesn't care about them. I do care about them. I care about them enough to want them to grow up in a family where people treat each other with kindness and respect, not manipulation and guilt. You're delusional if you think, Jessica, I want to see Tyler and Sophie and all the kids, but I want to see them on my terms, not as your unpaid babysitter. What do you mean? I mean, I want to take them to the zoo next Saturday. Just me and them. No agenda, no favors, no strings attached. just an aunt spending time with her nieces and nephews because she loves them. There was a long pause. I don't know. Jessica, those kids didn't do anything wrong. They shouldn't be punished because the adults in their lives can't figure out how to treat each other decently. Another pause. Okay, but just for a few hours. That's all I'm asking for. That Saturday at the zoo was magical. Madison realized how much she'd missed the kids, but more importantly, she realized how different the experience was when she was there by choice rather than obligation. Tyler, Sophie, Max, Lily, and Ethan were thrilled to see her, and they had a wonderful day looking at animals, riding the carousel, and eating ice cream. For the first time, Madison was able to enjoy being an aunt without feeling like she was being taken advantage of. When she dropped them off, Jessica was waiting on the porch. They had a great time, Jessica said quietly. So did I. Madison, I've been thinking about what you said, about how we treat you. Madison waited. Maybe we haven't been as considerate as we should have been. It wasn't a full apology, but it was a start. Jessica, I love you. I love all of you. But I can't go back to the way things were. I can't be the person you call only when you need something. I can't be excluded from celebrations while being expected to make them possible. I can't be taken for granted anymore. What do you want from us? I want to be treated like a valued member of this family. I want my time and energy to be respected. I want to be included in decisions that affect me. I want to be invited to things because you want my company, not because you need my services. Jessica nodded slowly. I think we can work on that. Over the next few months, Madison's relationship with her family slowly began to change. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, misunderstandings, and moments when old patterns tried to reassert themselves. But gradually, things improved. Madison was invited to family dinners without being asked to bring anything or help with cleanup. She was included in planning discussions for family events. When someone needed help, they asked rather than assumed, and they accepted no as a valid answer. The kids visited Madison regularly, and she took them on adventures around the city. But now it was because she wanted to spend time with them, not because she was expected to provide free childcare. Patricia, Madison's mother, was the slowest to come around. She struggled with the idea that her daughter had boundaries and expectations. But even she eventually began to see Madison as a person rather than just a resource. I'm proud of you, she told Madison one evening after a particularly pleasant family dinner. I didn't understand it at first, but I see now that you were right to stand up for yourself. I raised you to be strong and independent, and that's exactly what you are. It was the first time Patricia had ever acknowledged that Madison's actions had been justified rather than selfish. That fall, Madison took the European trip she'd been planning. 3 weeks in Italy, France and Spain, traveling solo and loving every minute of it. She sent postcards to the kids and shared photos with her family. But for the first time, she didn't feel guilty about spending money on herself or taking time away from family obligations. When she returned, tanned and relaxed and full of stories, her family gathered to hear about her adventures. They asked questions, looked at photos, and seemed genuinely interested in her experiences. You look so happy, Olivia observed. I don't think I've ever seen you this relaxed. I am happy, Madison replied. I'm living my life for me, and it turns out I really like the person I am when I'm not trying to be everything to everyone else. Now, a year later, Madison's life looks completely different. She still loves her family, but she loves herself too. She still helps when she can, but she helps by choice rather than obligation. She's dating someone wonderful, a man she met in her book club who appreciates her intelligence, her independence, and her strength. She's been promoted at work, partly because she's no longer constantly distracted by family crises. She's planning another trip, this time to Asia. Most importantly, she's learned the difference between being selfish and having self-respect. She's learned that saying no to unreasonable requests isn't cruel, it's necessary. She's learned that people will treat you exactly as well as you allow them to. You know what I realized? she told her therapist during one of their sessions. "I spent so many years trying to earn my family's love by being useful that I forgot I was already worthy of love just by being me." And how does that feel? It feels like freedom. It feels like coming home to myself. Madison's story isn't just about family dynamics. It's about recognizing your own worth and refusing to accept less than you deserve. It's about understanding that love shouldn't come with conditions and that healthy relationships require mutual respect and consideration. Sometimes the people we love most are the ones who take us for granted the most. They assume our love means we'll accept any treatment, make any sacrifice, tolerate any disrespect. But real love, healthy love, doesn't work that way. Madison learned that she didn't have to choose between loving her family and loving herself. She could do both, but she had to teach them how to treat her by refusing to accept anything less than respect. The family that once saw her as a convenient resource now sees her as a valued person. The relationships that were once based on obligation are now based on genuine affection and mutual consideration. And Madison finally learned that she was worth fighting for, even if she had to do the fighting herself. Sometimes, the best gift you can give your family is teaching them to value you properly. And sometimes, the best gift you can give yourself is the courage to demand better. At 34, Madison Parker finally learned to put herself first. And in doing so, she didn't lose her family. She gained their respect.